Folks, the Paris attacks showed me that the terrorists can be anywhere, anytime, and even here in the U.S., anywhere, anytime. So we need to be able to protect ourselves anywhere, anytime. So pay attention to this up-and-coming couple of news clips.
If you say, welcome all refugees because it's the right thing to do, you ignore modern consequences. If you say grabbing metadata is wrong, you ignore the consequences when intel goes dark. So what you're left with is an open gate and no way to track the incoming. It's nuts. So if we can't protect everyone, then it's up to us to protect ourselves. One solution?
Guns, guns, guns.
Guns, guns, guns. One guy had it right. Since you cannot harden every soft target, we must, quote, let people carry the means to defend themselves. Sorry, President Obama. That wasn't Ted Nugent who said that. That's the Interpol Secretary General Ronald Noble after the Kenyan massacre. He asked, if that was Texas, would those guys have been able to spend hours, days shooting people randomly? Is an armed citizenry more necessary now than it was in the past with an evolving threat of terrorism? Of course. But I have another idea. We must harden more than targets, but also our memories. On occasions, we reenact historic events. At Christmas, it's the nativity scene. I might have been a sheep. On Thanksgiving, kids reenact pilgrims and Indians giving thanks. We need a reenactment of heroism to teach the young its value. A Flight 93 day where kids replay a key moment in history when citizens did what the government couldn't do, saving countless lives as they lost theirs. After Paris, the Twitter trends were already MTV stars and Charlie Sheen. It's a sickness we have, this instant amnesia, and it's up to us to destroy it before it destroys us. Eric, it's a fact that the government cannot protect us at all times. It's impossible. So
protect ourselves.
Oh, exactly.
Someone tweeted to me today, why is it my only two choices, or their only two choices are run or die? And I was like, no, you have a third choice. Exercise your Second Amendment right. Arm yourself and protect yourself. And again, Paris, another one of those cities where it's very, very difficult to get a carry license, to own a gun, and have it with you at all times. At any given time, in any theater here, there's probably 3 or 4 people with a gun. I would say, guess, maybe not New York, but in cities outside of New York and Chicago and D.C. and L.A., other cities are 3 or 4 people in a group of 1,000 or 1,500. You would think.
Yeah.
In Paris, probably none.
Yeah.
Because it's difficult. The soft target you point out. The gun-free zones are the softest targets.
You know, you talk about government not being able to help you in all situations. So at this table, when we talk about guns, you guys, if there's a massacre, you guys say, well, you know, we got to do something about this mental illness. And I say, well, why are guns so easily accessible? You cite France. Well, gee, I looked it up. It says here there are 1,800 gun deaths in France annually, 33,000 in the United States.
Just to be fair, we need to compare the population size of the countries. France has 66 million people. U.S. has 319 million people. The U.S. population is 4.833 times larger than France.
33,000.
Including suicides.
Yeah, okay. You say more guns, more guns, more guns.
Well,
no,
the
I'm
bad
saying
guys are still going to get the guns. We do realize
if the government can't protect you in all situations, give the bad guys more guns.
So your restrictions keeps guns out of the hands of law-abiding citizens that want to be able to defend themselves. The bad guys are getting in it. The bad guys are getting in it. The bad guys are getting in it. You know that. The stats bear that out. So, so keep hating on, the law-abiding citizens. That's fine.
Isn't it time for us to remind our kids what Flight 93 was and teach us now how to react in these cases?
Well, I think that one of the things that's interesting about that, yes, in a way, but what happened on Flight 93 was a spontaneous American value, right? Like it was a bravery and a courage and a care for others, right? They were so concerned about what could happen on the ground that they decided to sacrifice themselves. Interesting, Greg, the European Commission, the government, and that's not Interpol, they're actually announced today they are actually going to tighten legal restrictions on the types of firearms that were used by the terrorists because gun control is apparently the answer.
And when terrorists see that, they go, that's it, not buying any guns. They've tightened the gun control. We're not getting guns.
Yeah. Paris should be a wake-up call for every American, and that we should be ready to challenge things that look out of the ordinary because we cannot wait for the police or the feds. Joining me now, Dr. Sebastian Gorka. He is the chair of military theory at the Marine Corps University, and he also served as a prosecution expert in the Boston bombing trial. He also runs the GorkaBriefing.com. Dr. Gorka, thank you for being here tonight. So your position right now is that Paris is just the beginning, and we need to rely on ourselves. What do you mean by that?
Well, if you look at what's happened since the attacks on Friday, Megyn, it is clear that this wasn't just some spontaneous event done by people who had a grudge. This is organized. This is a network. This is international. This woman, if the reports are true, tried to entice the police closer to that house so she could kill them with an explosive device that had been prepared for this eventuality. So the message is very clear, Megyn. The jihad is real, the jihad is global, and they want to bring it to the shores of America. We have an article coming out in tomorrow's New York Post where we give you the stats. We've had 82 ISIS suspects arrested in America in a 20-month period, and of those, a full 30% had no intention of going to Iraq or to Syria to fight. They had decided to kill Americans on U.S. soil. As a result, don't wait for Uncle Sam to protect you. Every American has a duty and a responsibility to be aware of the threat and be prepared to protect themselves.
Folks, this doesn't mean we need to run around like chickens with our heads cut off and be afraid of everything that moves. No, we need to be aware of everything and protect us and our families as we see fit.
But what does that mean? I mean, there's no reasoning with these people. On Friday night, as the terror attack was unfolding, and we heard that there were up to 100 hostages taken in that concert hall, one of the first guests we tried to book was a hostage negotiator. And of course, that was ridiculous because there's no negotiating with these people. They just killed them. They killed them all. If they couldn't escape, they were dead. So how are Americans supposed to think about protecting themselves?
Okay, so you're the first point, absolutely right. You don't negotiate with people who want to destroy you. That would be like negotiating with Hitler. No, you have to be tactically aware. If you're in a state, if you're in a municipality that allows you to carry a weapon, you should do so. You should get training. You should carry it. Your members of your family that are prepared to do so, likewise. But on top of that, even more important than that, is you have to have tactical awareness. I grew up in the UK during the deadliest years of the IRA. Everybody was alert all the time. If somebody put a bag down for a moment on a tube train, on the subway, on a bus, within 60 seconds, a school kid, a grandmother would say, "Whose is that bag?" And if nobody replied, that bus would be stopped, it would be evacuated, and the police would be called. Do we have that mentality today in America? I'm not sure.
How determined do you believe they are right now to launch an attack in America? In other words, does it make it more likely, since they've just had, quote, success in Paris, or is it more likely that they'll lie low for a bit until the heat is less severe?
I think if you read the magazine of ISIS, so ISIS has an English language jihadi magazine called Dabiq, and your watchers can check it out, DABIQ. It's their manual of jihad. It is clear, explicit, every issue. They want to take the war to America. I believe we have sleeper cells here already. Director Comey has said there are upwards of 900 investigations going on in all 50 states. So I would expect them to be encouraged by this event because it was successful. This is the largest targeting of civilians on French soil since the end of World War II. So this will be an encouragement to jihadis in America.
Dr. Gorka, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Megyn, for having me.